What's up YouTube? Scott the Car Guy here today with another video. This is going to be a new format for the channel. Basically, I'm just going to walk you through the buying process of various vehicles and give you some tips and tricks for the buying process. I'm able to speak on this because I actually used to be the internet sales manager for like a pretty large dealership in the Pittsburgh area. So I would essentially do this all day, every day. Monday through Friday, 9 till 6. So I've found thousands of cars and help people buy, literally thousands of cars. And I think it's just like a unique skill that I have. I do it for friends. I do it for family still to this day. And so I'm going to walk you through that process. Before we jump into that, though, just want to remind you, make sure to check out my channel. Got a bunch of different videos. I'm going to be adding some more in the coming weeks. So make sure to subscribe, and we'll jump into the video now. One of the most important things to consider is what type of car are you searching for. So for this particular example, I'm going to be searching for an E90 generation BMW M3. Now I have an E90 series BMW 335, so that's why I'm using this M3 as an example. And so the particular car that you're searching for, it really matters like where you're searching. And so I have Auto Tempest just pulled up. This is an aggregator of a bunch of different car listing websites. They came on the scene, I don't know, a few years ago. I search them occasionally, but my tried and true is really just cars.com. So, because we're searching for an older generation, we're going to search used BMW M3. And then you also have to consider your search radius. Now, an M3 is a $20,000 or $30,000 car. So if you find a car in California and I'm in Pennsylvania, I'm probably not going to spend $1,000 or $1,500 to have the car shipped across the country. I'm not going to spend a 20th of the car's value. So let's say 500 miles. That's our search radius. Now the BMW M3 with the V8 engine, the E90 series, E92, that was built from 2008 until 2013. So I'm just going to click those filters now. It's also important to select your mileage. So whatever you're comfortable with mileage-wise. Typically on an M car, M motors aren't going to be as robust, and as you get up into the higher mileage for these vehicles, you're going to run into problems. Think like E60, M5, and M6 motors. Pretty much every expert is going to say, you do not want to purchase one of those with 100,000 miles. Now, you could probably get away with 80,000. Now, I know that this particular V8 is more robust, so you could probably get away with getting one that's 80 or 90,000 miles. Also considering, if it's a 2008 with 80,000 miles, that really isn't that many miles per year. So we're going to go ahead, we'll select 80,000 miles, and then click Show More Filters because we want to change the body style. Now, the M3, they made a bunch of them, so the question is, will it become collectible and will it appreciate in value? I think in the long run, yes, it probably will. Now, I think we're definitely getting pretty close to the prices for these vehicles where they're starting to bottom out. Because right now, the E46 M3s, some of the lower mileage ones with good options and stuff like that, now they're worth more than the next generation, this generation, BMW M3. So, I would limit my search to the coupes or the sedans. Now, honestly, my thought process with the coupe would be, it would make this a very unique vehicle. So an E92 M3 with the V8 that is the last generation M3 that's going to have a V8. It's also the last generation coupe M3, because now with the current generation, the coupe variant is the M4. So that's just something unique about it, and will definitely help with collector value in the future. So onto the transmission. I would say for this vehicle, obviously the manual is going to be more desirable, and when you looked up the vehicle prices, let's just find something real quick. A manual is actually significantly more expensive than a DCT automatic version. But here's my thought on that. So currently we aren't in the last generation of a manual version of this vehicle. So like the current M3, current M4, you can get those vehicles with manuals. So that doesn't necessarily make this M3 or the feature of this M3, that's not unique, seeing as how this is a manual. Also, this is not an SMG or an SMG2. Those were single clutch, clunky, slow gearboxes. And this is a dual clutch unit, 7-speed dual clutch unit. So I would not shy away from that. Like if you have to commute, if you don't want to drive manual, if your wife or your significant other has to drive the vehicle and they don't want to drive manual, definitely don't shy away from the vehicle. I mean, the dual clutch is an amazing vehicle. So on to the next bit of my search process. So I have them sorted low to high, and I think just as any general rule of thumb, you never want to purchase the least expensive vehicle. I don't even look at that car. And so then the next vehicle on the list, it does not have a free Carfax report, which is interesting because it's at a BMW dealership. Now, typically, honestly, like I don't pay attention that much to these dealership reviews because who is the person that's going to leave a review? It's someone who feels like they were wronged by the dealership, and they have to do everything in their power to harm the dealership. But whenever I see a car with no free Carfax, to me, the first thing that it tells me is they're trying to hide something. And I mean, especially if it's from an actual dealership, like why is that not there? You'll see it a lot with private sellers where they don't provide a free Carfax report for you. That's simply because they don't want to pay the $40 or $50 or whatever to get that Carfax report. So that doesn't necessarily mean I won't take a look at a car from a private seller if it has just this Carfax report button here, if it doesn't have the free one. I'm just assuming that they just didn't purchase it. So keep going down here. I'm looking for the least expensive version with a Carfax report. Okay, so this guy Chase, so he actually purchased the Carfax report, which makes me think he has absolutely nothing to hide, and he's willing to pay the $40. Like he's really trying to get this car sold. Never been in any accidents. He has vehicle maintenance items. Okay, so let's check out the Carfax. But the Carfax report is no longer okay, so he probably purchased it and it was valid for like 30 days or something like that. And so that's why it's expired. Now, if I was actually genuinely interested in this car, I would just message him and say, hey, this Carfax report is out of date. Can you purchase it again? He could send me a copy of the Carfax, which, oh nice, he's got the different service stuff there. He could send me a copy of it, but like I simply wouldn't trust that. I would never buy a car without viewing and inspecting the whole Carfax. So let's just take a look at the next vehicle. Here's another private seller. So yeah, he does not have the Carfax purchased. Keep going down here. Let's see, Audi. So it's at an Audi dealership, 27,290. Now, black is not necessarily the most desirable color for this vehicle, but it just depends on which color you're searching for. So let's take a look. I mean, it has a little bit of wear on the driver's seat. This is the DCT. It's got the navigation. Let's take a look at that. Clean engine, but honestly, anyone can clean an engine. The rotors seem to be in pretty good working condition. I don't see any scuffs on the wheels. Now they're choosing the wheel that looks best for photos, probably. Oh, they have all 4 wheels. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, I think it looks pretty clean. Just aside from that driver's seat. Let's take a look at this. Now with these quality photos, you can't really make it out, but these buttons and then also the push to start button, if it was owned by someone that has like long nails or if they wear rings or something like that, these buttons will like chip off and like the paint will come off and they look really bad. But this, from this angle, it appears to be looking pretty good. Now I see this light on. That just may mean that whoever was taking the picture after they started the motor, their seatbelt might just be off. That's why that's on there. But anytime you're inquiring about a vehicle, I would ask that they send you a photo or as many photos as you can of the vehicle and ask explicitly, are there known issues with the vehicle? And if you see any lights or anything like that, that's just like a red flag, unless you're like a mechanic and want to actually do the work yourself. But yeah, I would just stay away from anything like that. But yeah, I mean, this vehicle looks nice. Let's take a look. It's 453 miles away. Let's take a look at the Carfax. Okay, no accidents reported. So it's 2 previous owners. It's an 8-year-old vehicle, 8-ish-year-old vehicle, and it's a sports car. So honestly, sports cars typically have a lot more owners. You'll see like Dodge Vipers and Ferraris. They might have 6 or 7 owners in a 10, 15-year period. It's because someone owns it for a year or 2, and then they just want to move on to the next thing. So 22 service history records. That's actually pretty good. So the first owner drove it more than the industry average. The second owner drove it significantly less than the industry average, which is why the vehicle only has 65,000 miles on it now. So let's take a look. It was sold February 2010, North Carolina. First service, almost 3,000 miles, 10,000 miles, 16,000 miles. 17, 20, 33. Okay. Let's keep going down here. Okay, so what I'm seeing from this is it was sold from a BMW dealership in 2012, but it was not sold as a certified pre-owned vehicle. Now that may have been because at the time the mileage was too high for the year. I'm 99% certain that that's the reason why. Let's take a look. Okay, I don't see anything crazy there. So that's good. That gets a check from me. The final thing that I would do before I drove 453 or however many miles that was, 453 miles away, I I would contact my local BMW dealership, and I have done this before. So what you do is you get the vehicle's VIN number, call your local service department at your BMW dealership. Now, this may take you a couple different dealerships that you need to get in contact with until you have a working relationship with them. But talk to them and say, hey, I'm interested in this vehicle. It has a clean carfax. I can see some of the services that have been done to the vehicle, but I was wondering, could you please send me a list of all of the maintenance that was done under warranty and at BMW dealerships? And they typically won't email you or send you or mail you, and you can't pick up a list of all the items. They're hesitant to do that. I don't know if it violates BMW North America's service agreements that they have, but what they'll do is they can read off the list of every single maintenance item for you. So for example, we'll say it was serviced at Schaefer BMW at 20,000 miles. They will tell you the 7 things that they did. They'll have part numbers. They'll have exactly how much those items cost and stuff like that. So they can tell you everything that's done to it. Now, why is that important? So, you have a BMW like this. You want to make sure that everything's in working order. And if there are parts that are known to fail on this vehicle, and if you go through the service history that BMW, the service center, provides you, and you noticed, hey, this item hasn't been replaced yet, then just take it upon yourself to replace that item under preventative maintenance, because this item is known to fail. I'm going to change this out so that I know my vehicle is in proper working condition. It also prevents you from replacing something that was already replaced. So, you can see, oh, they just changed the battery. Although I think that was on the Carfax here. They just changed it in February. And so, if there's something wrong with the battery, or the battery dies or something like that, then there's clearly an issue because your battery keeps draining. So those are just some of my steps that I take when I'm searching for a vehicle. I hope you found this video fun and informative. I hope you learned something. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment below for a vehicle that you would like me to cover in a future video. I know the ins and outs of a lot of different vehicles, regular cars, as well as exotics. So just leave a comment. Make sure to like the video, and we'll see you next time.